welcome back to another episode of DEC Does What. I'm Sean Mahar, along with a new voice.
Hi, Adriana Espinosa here.
Hey, and I know many folks were used to Erica Ringwald here being our co-host. Erica has moved on from DEC, and we're so thrilled to have Adriana step in. Adriana, who are you, and why did you want to do this podcast with us?
First, I want to say that I love Erica Ringwald, and she was my chief of staff for the past 4 years of my career at DEC. And on who I am stepping in to fill those very big and impossible to fill shoes. I am now chief of staff for DEC and also still in my old role. So I am both chief of staff and deputy commissioner for equity and justice at DEC.
The wearer of many hats, and that's what it seems like the chief of staff always does here in this agency.
Par for the course.
We're so happy to have you on the show and looking forward to another awesome round of episodes of DEC Does What, interviewing our team, telling the DEC story, and really shining a great positive spotlight on all the great work that this agency does. So happy to have you on board and really looking forward to where we take this.
Likewise.
So where are we taking it today, Adriana?
I'm so excited about this week's episode, Sean, because we are talking about DEC summer camps. It is the season.
It is the season coming up, and I know it's hard. It's still wintertime. Snow is still falling here in the capital region, but summer is on the horizon, and so are our DEC summer camps. So who are we joined with today?
We are joined by Jackson Patterson, our summer camps administrator for the Division of Communication, Education, and Engagement, Samantha Carey, an aquatic biologist from the Bureau of Fisheries, and Emily Berry, a professional geologist in the Division of Environmental Remediation. Pretty heavy hitters here.
Yeah, welcome to the show, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Jackson, let's start with you, and we'll get into the story of Emily and Samantha as we take the show on. But, Jackson, people think of DEC as, your helpful, friendly environmental regulator, the place you come to get your hunting and fishing license, the stewards of New York's environment. But many people don't think of us as actually having summer camps. So how long have we had summer camps for here, and when did it start?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So you're absolutely right. DC is not what you think of when you think about summer camps, but we do have them. We actually have 4 of them across the state, and I am pretty excited to be welcoming in our 79th year of summer camp programs.
Older than the agency itself.
It is, yes.
So, Jackson, 79 years ago, why did DEC want to start summer camps, and what was sort of the impetus behind creating these opportunities?
Yeah, so about 79 years ago, there was this effort to try to, of course, preserve and maintain the stewardship of our environmental ecosystems and natural resources, but there was this missing component about trying to connect youth and kids to the outdoors and the recreation and all of the stuff that we can do outside. So these camps are like a way for us to try to reconnect our youth with our outdoor adventures. And then coming up on 80 years, I think it's been incredibly successful at that. Over the course of those 79 summers, we have expanded from 1 camp to 4. So I think that shows like both the testament to the longevity, the great idea of it, and the sustainability of this program. It's really great that we get to do this stuff with kids.
And who was really leading that charge at the time, if you know? Is this something that was led from the legislature? Were these created by law, or was this DEC driven to create the camps?
So our summer camp's history is really tied up pretty closely with like sports groups, like outdoor sports groups, fishing groups, hunting groups, that kind of thing. And so it was sort of a regional local effort at first. Before DEC existed, there was this constellation of environmental commissions and things, and they all sort of operated independently, giving various levels of support to their like regional kind of efforts to do this thing. And at some point, the state stepped in and said, we're going to buy some land and we're going to dedicate it just to this effort to getting kids outside and connecting with nature in this fun recreational way. And since then, it has sort of solidified into, one group, one effort, one program. But I think it was a sort of local effort at first through these organizations.
Community-led, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many campers do we typically have each summer come into the program?
Yeah, we have about 200 kids a week. And over the course of the entire summer, we'll serve about 1,400 campers that come through our 4 summer camps altogether.
That's great. That's a lot of important opportunities to really engage New Yorkers and inspire the next generation of conservationists.
Yeah.
So we're happy to be joined today, obviously, by Emily and Sam here, who were DEC campers when they were growing up, right?
Yep.
So, Sam, where
Yep.
did you go to camp?
So I actually only attended Pack Forest. I was a little late to the game. I didn't really know about DEC camps. Just to go off on a little tangent here, I got this info from my high school guidance counselor. He actually knew I was interested in hunting and fishing and knew my career path and was like, hey, there's this camp, and handed it off to me. And that was the end of that. And I got to attend camp for a few times.
Shout out to counselors.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Emily, what about you?
So I went to 3 summer camps. I went to Camp DeBruce, Camp Colby, and Pack Forest. And my grandpa is an avid hunter and conservationist, and his hunting club would sponsor a camper every year. And so all my siblings and I got to go. It was awesome.
Do you have a favorite?
Oh, it's hard. Camp Colby was so cool. They do this like overnight canoeing trip across Upper, Middle, and Saranac Lake, and you camp out on the islands, and it's just like such a vivid memory for me. But I mean, Pack Forest was really cool too. That's where I met Sam, and I went with my sister too that year, so that was really fun. Um, yeah, a lot of great memories.
So you and Sam together in camp and now together on Team DEC working for the agency.
Mhm.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's crazy.
very cool.
We ended up meeting. I'll tell the story really quick about how we actually met. So Emily and I started here within the last few years, and we go to this internal Camp DEC, which gives you all your info when you start as an employee here. And next thing you know, I turn around and I see Emily behind me, and she's looking at me, and we're both like, what are you doing here? And we haven't really seen each other since we were campers at Pack Forest, other than keeping in touch right online and texting and
Mhm.
that Facebook thing at one point. And
So prior to that, you were keeping up on social media, but you didn't realize you were working for the same agency?
yeah, I don't
No, we didn't.
did not terribly not to keep
We
up.
work in different regions, and so it's easy not to, even know. It's such a big organization that's easy not to even know.
And you met at camp?
Yeah, when we were
Yeah.
16 years old probably.
I just have to
Yeah.
call attention to the full circle moment. That is 2 campers who met at DEC camp, then reconnecting again at Camp DEC,
Yeah.
which is our employee orientation super fun time that we get to have when you join our team. That's amazing.
It really was. It was like we just reconnected the entire time, hung out.
Yeah, it was so cool.
We took a picture there to match our picture that we took at camp when we're 16. So it really is a full circle moment.
Were you wearing the same outfits when we took the picture?
You know,
No, we were
no,
not.
we weren't. We had
So
yeah. Go ahead, Emily.
yeah, so we met in 2011, and we were both 16, and we bonded over our teenage girl obsession over Luke Bryan, and we both had the same T-shirt that we were wearing, and
Aw.
we were like, "Oh my gosh, you too!" And so it just the rest is history. We it was like an immediate friendship from there.
Yeah.
And so we have a picture of us that we can share, of us in those T-shirts from back then, and so it was just really cool to catch up and
Well, this is
see where each
interesting.
other is now.
This is interesting history that we're diving into right now. We're going to take a brief break and then come back and really dive into what it was like in these summer camps and what campers should expect when they go there. So stay tuned, listeners. We'll be right back.
This winter, DEC wants to remind you, don't be salty, be salt smart. Help protect New York's water resources and wildlife habitats by reducing the amount of rock salt applied at your home and businesses. It only takes about 12 ounces of rock salt to effectively treat a 20-foot driveway or 10 sidewalk squares. Apply rock salt only when temperatures are above 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It becomes ineffective at lower temperatures. For more tips on how to be salt smart, visit dec.ny.gov and search rock salt.
Welcome back, listeners. We were just talking about Luke Bryan and the full circle moment of how 2 of our DEC team members met at summer camp. But let's get back to the task at hand here. I wanted to ask, Jackson, what is your role at camp?
Yeah, so I work full time, getting camps ready for the kids each summer, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of leading a team that does that. And we all together are responsible for making sure that we find the best staff that we possibly can, first and foremost, to come work at summer camp. Like these are the counselors, these are our seasonal leadership staff. They're the folks that work in the kitchen, all the support, all that kind of thing. That takes up a pretty big amount of our time is finding the staff in order to run the camps. But I also make sure that, all of the things that you might not immediately first think of when you think of summer camp are ready to go. Is the food going to show up on time? Are the lights going to turn on when you get there? Is the camp ready, physically ready? Are the beds set up? Are the gardens looking good? A lot of it is also presentation because you want to make sure that the parents, guardians, whoever dropping the kids off, are also feel safe so you got to make sure that everything looks nice and works well. And so that's a lot of what we do. We hire folks, we make sure that the lights are on, the food's ready to go, that our health and safety plans are up to date and ready to be like tapped on or tapped into if we need them. All of that kind of stuff, and then when the kids show up, we got to make sure that the activities, the games, the environmental education classes, we call them adventures, that we are going to do at camp are ready to go, that the supplies are there, and that the staff are trained. And so that's a little bit of what we do. It makes it, I'm really distilling it down, but it's a big, long process. It really does take about 9 months to pull off this like 2.5-month program.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of work. And we think about the thousands of children that are coming through, like that's a lot to manage for. So kudos. And for listeners who might be interested or have family members who might be interested, where can they find out about any seasonal positions for what we're hiring for our camps right now?
Yeah, great question. We do hire all through the winter and into the early spring. And if you do know somebody or are interested in coming to work at summer camp on a seasonal basis, you can visit dec.ny.gov. And there are summer camp pages on there that will lead you to the application process, job requirements, and so much more.
So, Emily, you spent 3 of your summers at camp. Were you always a camper or were you a counselor at all?
There was always a camper.
Did you ever want to be a counselor?
I did think about it in college. Unfortunately, it just never lined up with, me being able to, but I always thought it would be a cool idea too.
Well, it's never too late.
Yeah,
We'd be happy to.
exactly. I think dec.ny.gov, Emily, if you want to find opportunities there.
If you want to wear multiple
I'll head on
hats
over.
at DEC.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, Jackson, do you find that there are a lot of campers who came to camp that want to come back and be counselors? And do we draw a lot from those experiences?
Yes, I don't have the exact number on the top of my head, but many of our staff, I'll venture just a total guess here. I'd say about half of our staff have been maybe a camper at some point or another, and we do have a really great program that kind of takes you from the camper experience and puts like some training wheels on you if you want to be a staff member one day potentially. And some of our older campers come back as what we call volunteers. We call them vols for short. But as a camp volunteer, you are a camper. You still come to camp. You get that full camp experience. But we are looking at you to maybe take on a little bit of like lowercase r responsibility at camp. Be a peer mentor to the other campers. Give you a little bit of responsibility under the guidance and supervision of our staff to try to give those 15, 16, 17-year-old campers a little bit of taste of what working at camp might be like, and many of them do come back and want to be staff members, and we have a lot of them on our team this coming summer that were volunteers and were campers with us.
That's just so great. So, Sam and Emily, having both been campers before yourselves, can you help paint the picture for me? What is the summer camp experience like? Are you in a tent? Are you in a cabin? Tell me what happens.
Yeah, so I guess it's either you're in a cabin or you're in a tent. Kind of depends. So Emily might be able to um, answer a little bit of that too.
Yeah, so there's different activities that you can sign up for depending on what your interests are. And so you can do overnight camping trips, which sometimes involve, canoeing to an island where you camp on, or you hike in to a campground. Um, and then there's all sorts of different activities that you do along with that. Um, and then there's other activities that you can do too, which I think Sam might be more familiar with.
Yeah, so you were also asking about life at camp really quick. So there are bathrooms, there are showers, there are all of those things separated. You have all girl cabins or all boy cabins, I believe. Um, yeah,
Wi-Fi?
no Wi-Fi. Not for the
That's what
campers.
I want to
Good.
hear.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I remember going to camp as a
Uh,
high schooler, and there were no cell phones allowed. And I'm not sure if that policy is still a thing, but I remember being a 16-year-old girl, my dad being like, "Give me your cell phone," and it was gone for the week, and I did not have it at all. And then I picked me up my BlackBerry phone, got it again, and that was like honestly a pretty big thing. But I felt like it was needed
It's
at that
important to
point.
get offline and get outside.
Yeah.
So these cabins, are you in bunks? Are you in individual beds? When did you discover this Luke Bryant connection? Were you in a cabin? Were you canoeing in a tent somewhere? Talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so there are bunk beds, I believe, and there are single beds. I can't fully remember. Maybe they've changed now. So the Luke Bryan connection, I'm trying to think of where that even started. I
We just
know.
both showed up in the same shirts.
I think that's what it was. It was
I
either
think we were like out playing a game in you know, they play different games throughout the week, and I think we were out playing a game, and one of us had our shirts on, and the other one was just like, "Oh my goodness, I love him. I brought the same shirt. We should wear it tomorrow."
and I think
So,
that's exactly how it went. It must have been a concert
Yeah.
T-shirt that we got, and
Does that mean you went to the
Yep.
same concert?
right. I don't
It
think
could have
Oh man,
could
your
have been.
connections are so deep.
It could have been. It runs deep. It does. And so that Luke Bryan connection, and yeah, and so we wore it the next day, and we got those pictures, and everyone Luke Bryan Day is what we called it.
yep.
So embarrassing.
So you have outdoor adventures, you're learning about nature, you're spending time playing games and things like that because you need that sort of creative breaks too. But practically, there are a lot of opportunities to really set yourself up for success in the future with regard to getting a hunting and fishing license, right? Talk to us a little bit about that, and what does that programming look like?
Yes, it's a great question. One of the things that is, I would say, central to our Sleepaway Summer Camp program is the hunter education courses that we do. So if you come to our camp, you have the opportunity to sign up to do hunter education, which is it takes about a day or so. And we have certified instructors that come in and they teach our campers and our staff. Staff can take the course too. And instead of doing some of the regular scheduled activities, you kind of like break out and go on this separate track for the day. And you learn about hunter safety. And it could be riflery, it could be shotguns, it could be bows, and we even have trapping. And our instructors will take you for the day. They'll kind of show you everything. You get some hands-on experience doing that. They'll take you out to the rifle range if you're doing a target sport of some kind. And if you do well, you pass, then you get a little certification letter at the end, which is you can use in order to go out and apply for and get your hunter's license as a minor, as a kid. And it's a really great program. And we have a good portion of our kids go through it every year. I think we're in like about a quarter to a third of our campers go through that every single year. We have a handful of staff, and we get like these really wonderful, heartwarming stories every once in a while about kids that went through the hunter education program, and then they go out and they get to go hunting with their parents. And, we get pictures back and like these stories, anecdotal stories about these great times. And it really helps connect what we are doing in the summer camps with DEC's larger mission. And it gives you that sense of gratification and like satisfaction of being like, well, this person did that thing because of the experience that they had at our summer camp. It's really cool.
Definitely. So we are talking to Jackson Patterson, Samantha Carey, and Emily Berry here on DEC Does What, all about our summer camps. We're going to take a break momentarily, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the camping experience and what their favorite camp food is.
Calling all wildlife enthusiasts. DEC and Cornell University are seeking volunteers to participate in the new Snapshot New York program, which helps monitor wildlife across New York State. Simply host a trail camera on your property and upload photos through the Snapshot NY website. The data you collect helps DEC make informed decisions, improve the effectiveness of wildlife conservation and management strategies, and track changes in wildlife populations over time. For more information on how to volunteer, visit snapshotny.org.
All right, welcome back to DEC Does What. We are here talking summer camps. And I wanted to just note that, we have two former campers here who met at a DEC summer camp, but they don't work in camps at DEC. So, Emily, let me ask you first. You're a professional geologist now in the Division of Environmental Remediation. Tell us a little bit about what you do for DEC.
Yeah, so I'm a project manager for a number of different Superfund sites and brownfield cleanup sites. And so what that looks like on a day-to-day basis is, I review remedial work plans if there's a hazardous waste cleanup that needs to take place on a site. And so, we focus on cleaning up groundwater and soil in order to make the environment a cleaner place for all of us to live.
Is that something that you learned at DEC Summer Camp?
Hazardous waste cleanup is
Yes.
an additional track in addition to Hunter Ed.
It's not, but I think it's really cool that, you take all these kids and they're all so different and you nurture for 1 week long, you nurture a love for the environment and this beautiful planet that we live on. And that manifests in such different ways. I took an environmental science class in high school, and that just really sparked my interest in geology and hydrogeology. And, I always thought that the DEC would be such a cool place to work at because of summer camp.
So, Sam, similar, did you have that experience where DEC Summer Camp really ignited your interest in DEC and taking on your role now in our fisheries department?
Yeah,
Busy.
absolutely. So I think going to camp solidified really what I wanted to do with my life. I was a late camper. I went at 16, but my guidance counselor, like I said earlier, was the one who brought me that. Was like, I know you're very interested in DEC. And at that point, I actually wanted to be an environmental conservation officer. I didn't know the
Very
different
cool.
realms of DEC. There are so many different realms. When I came to Camp DEC as an employee, I got to figure out there were so many different avenues you can go down. And then as a high school student, I didn't know there was fisheries biology or aquatic ecology or really any of that. So went to camp, obviously went to college, went for fisheries and aquaculture after going to camp. And so then with my day-to-day work life, I'm an aquatic biologist. I work on lakes, rivers, streams, ponds. I'm out pretty much all 4 seasons, doing workups on streams, looking at fish health, doing testing for or collecting samples for your mercury analysis on fish you can eat for consumption values and all of that kind of stuff. So just really get to be outside. And like Emily said, I feel like DEC camp allows you to be who you want to be and look at all the different avenues and decide, this is what I'd like to maybe do for my future, a glimpse into something. And then you meet all these counselors who are also in school for this kind of stuff. And you're like, wow, like I'm admiring these counselors and they're at school at ESF or Cobleskill or wherever they are. And they all, kind of end up here eventually. It seems like there's quite a few people.
I've met an incredible amount of people working in DEC and similar state agencies that either went to DEC summer camps as a camper or as a staff member and used that as a jumping off point to kind of get into a year-round position with DEC.
That's awesome. And Adrienne, I got to tell you, Sam is one of our great passionate advocates in Region 4 for fisheries activities. And gold star to Sam, when I had my first open office hours in the
Yeah.
Stanford office where Sam works, she was the first and only person to come and want to get me out in the field and introduce herself to me. So she's just a great advocate. And I could tell that you went to summer camp, Sam, just in that experience because you were very outgoing and just ready to jump in and have fun and
Yeah.
bring other people along with you to have fun.
We got to get you both out with us.
I would love that.
We will get you in an electrofishing boat. We'll get you in a stream, touching some fish. I mean, any of you. Any of
Game
us,
on.
right?
Great.
Sounds great. Kudos to you for walking through that door too. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask. I'm so inspired by this story and seeing the the trajectory from you as both of you as campers now to Team DEC. How do we tee up this next generation for this to happen again? How can you get involved, and what do you do to do if you're interested in going to summer camp this summer?
Great question. Yeah, if you are looking for a fantastic summer experience for your child, your camper, or a kid in your life, I would really encourage you to consider sending them to DEC summer camps. They're sleepaway camps. We'll take them for a week. We'll take them off your hands. It costs $350 is the registration fee. And I think that's much cheaper than what a typical week of childcare would cost you. So keep that in mind. And what we'll do, or if you are interested in sending your kids to camp this summer on March 22nd, it's a Sunday, our registration opens. On March 22nd at 1 o'clock, you can go onto our website. Again, that was dec.ny.gov. And navigate to the summer camp pages, and there's a registration button right there at the top of one of the summer camp page that will take you to the registration page where you can sign your kid up for anywhere between 1 to 7 weeks of summer camp.
Up to 7 weeks.
That's right. Yep, we run 1 week sessions, so they are from Sunday afternoon is drop off, Friday afternoon is pickup, and we will take your kid. If you want to send them to camp, we'll take them for 1 week, or we'll take them for multiple weeks. And we have kids that do come for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I don't think anybody comes for the whole summer. That is a long stretch of time, but we will, do great, summer camp stuff with all summer.
Are there different themes to each of the weeks at the different camps, or is it sort of all the same experience?
So week to week, a lot of the activities might be similar, but we do try to vary them up a little bit. Our weeks do kind of alternate between younger kids and older kids. We divide our weeks up by age. So we'll say you went to Pack Forest as campers. So let's say that we'll look at the Pack Forest schedule as an example. 1 week might be 11 to 13-year-olds. The next week might be 14 to 17-year-olds. And that's kind of how we divide up the ages. And each camp, there are 4 camps. Each one does have a little bit of its own unique kind of feel and vibe and activities that they do. So if you do, go from camp to camp, you'll get a little bit of a different experience there. And the hunter education weeks are also varied. Depending on when you're going. So 1 week it might be the riflery, the next week it might be trapping, the next week after that it might be bow hunting, so you get some variation there. And then 2 of our camps, Camp Colby and Camp Pack Forest, this summer are doing something that we call Adventure Week, where we kind of break the schedule entirely, and we do a bunch of activities that would be specifically tailored towards returning campers, although it's not limited currently to returning campers, but they're supposed to be activities that if you've been to camp before, these are going to be new, they're going to be a little bit more. And you were talking about how you didn't know that DEC had all these other opportunities when you were a camper. A lot of our campers don't know that. A lot of our staff don't know that. So Adventure Week is also an opportunity for us to bring DEC partners or other agencies into the camp and have them do camp activities with our kids. So we could have potentially fisheries or the conservation officers or rangers or somebody come in and do something with our kids. It's a really cool way to kind of break the mold and get a little bit fun and weird at summer camp.
Yeah, fun, affordable opportunities and experiences to enjoy the summer, learn about DEC, hopefully get inspired to come and work for us like Sam and Emily have and join our team overall. It just sounds like a great time. So Sam and Emily, I got to ask you, when it comes to the food at camp, what was your favorite camp food experience?
Oh, man. It's been a long time. I haven't been at camp in so long, but I remember the food being delicious. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like everyone has a culinary background of some sort.
All of our chefs they have to have experience like cooking or working in the food service industry. Yes.
I also heard that there's a controversial opinion here around the podcast table on camp food. Anybody care to share that information?
You're just gonna throw me under the bus like that, huh?
I'm gonna put you on blast. Go ahead.
The way that I like to cook my s'mores is a little bit unorthodox. I know there's something magical and nostalgic and very camp-like about putting that marshmallow at the end of your stick and roasting it over the open flames until it's this burning inferno of molten sugar. But I find that the best way to kind of toast your marshmallow is actually to put it already on the graham cracker and the chocolate and put it on a warm rock on the edge of the fire. And then about every 2 or 3 minutes, you just slightly rotate it. 25 degree or 25%, a quarter of a turn, whatever, until you get that nice little golden brown. So it's more of a radiant kind of
Yeah.
heating. And then you just put that last graham cracker right on top, and it's just gooey the whole way.
See, I'm more of
Man.
like a rotisserie guy. You get it on this high enough above the flame where it's not burning, and you just slowly rotate, until it's nice golden brown.
Yep.
But Emily and Sam, are you guys having campfires every night at camp? And are you making s'mores every night?
Yeah,
Yeah, there are
pretty much there's a fire every night, and the counselors, they a lot of them play music, and so they'll bring a guitar and we'll sing songs. Yeah, so it's really cool. But back to the s'mores thing, I think the more burnt the better.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And this is why we're
Emily.
friends,
Yeah,
Emily.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
why.
This is why we're going to end the show right now.
I'm
That's
with
it.
you.
Yeah, like I have no
char.
Really?
patience either. I am not gonna. I love that you slow roast it, but I want that
It's gotta
s'more
have a little crunch on it,
Yeah. and burn delicious. Yeah, and this is why we're friends.
So do you have to live near the area in order to go to a DEC summer camp, or do we have campers from across the state or outside the state even?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna quickly butt in here. I'm from Long Island originally, and I went all the way up to Warrensburg, and my dad drove me up there for camp, and that was a 5-hour ride from our hometown. So, yeah, you don't have to live
job, Dad.
anywhere. Yeah, thank you to my dad for that.
Yeah, that was great. That's a heck of a drop off.
Yeah, it was, and he drove all the way up to pick me up. Clearly, he wanted me back.
So, Sam, that was your first time going to summer camp. Was it your first time going to sleepaway camp?
Yeah, it was. And I really, really, really regret not being not knowing, not regret, but I never knew about it. And I wish I did when I was younger, because I say this all the time. I don't have any kiddos yet, but I will definitely send them to DEC camp, because it really was such a great experience. And I know Emily and I have connected, but there were so many people that we stayed friends with for years after that. Video chatting when we just started getting computer cameras and keeping up with
Yep.
each other. And yeah, I really loved it. And again, first time going, so it was nice to get away from home and experience all of these different things that we didn't have on Long Island either. We don't have mountains down there. We have the beach, which is great, but we got to canoe and hike and do all these different things that I was used to because of our family doing that, but not in a group setting with a bunch of friends, and not just with my parents and my cousins. So
So recognizing you're coming from so far away,
Yeah.
and you're up in the middle of nowhere
Yeah,
for
really.
the most part, was it difficult? And how did the staff sort of help with that transition to, your first sleepaway camp opportunity?
Yeah, so I definitely had never slept away. I really was a homebody for a long time. But honestly, just getting there and everyone having the real same hobbies or same way of thinking. I think the counselors were great. They were college kids, and they really related to us and took good care of us, and felt like camp mom and dad. And it was just, they all were there for us. I loved it. I can't say anything more about the counselors. I wanted to go back and be a counselor, and it just never worked out for me. And I went around the country and did other jobs, but even the counselor in training, I think I was just about to age out, and they're like, "We're sorry, we can't have you." I'm like, "Oh, all right."
Well, we are glad we have you on Team DEC.
Me too. Thank you.
Glad that summer camps inspired you to want to come work for us,
Right?
and be on the podcast today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Jackson, what if you have transportation issues? Are there any opportunities we have for people who live downstate who maybe don't have cars to get to camp?
So we don't have a robust transportation option necessarily for most of our campers. We do have like a campership program that we do provide some transportation to as part of that, but generally we don't have the ability to bus or shuttle most of our campers. But we will do everything that we can to make that drop off process or pickup process as smooth as possible, including late delayed kind of drop off or check-ins or
Accommodate where you can.
we accommodate where we can.
And what is the
Absolutely.
campership program?
So that is a program that works primarily with third-party organizations and members of the public to send kids to camp. We don't necessarily collect fees for them, but yeah, it's a really great way to get kids to come to camp that otherwise might not have that opportunity or access. So
Great.
That's awesome. So obviously registration is coming up March 22nd, 1 p.m. Registration opens, so definitely check out dec.ny.gov if you have any children in your family that would want to come and have this wonderful camp experience. I do have to ask a little bit about the games too, team. Just Sam and Emily, what were some of your favorite camp games that you played while you were there, and what can kids expect?
So I guess I'll go first. I'm not sure if Emily has the same, but we played a game called Zap, and it was like Manhunt, but in the dark. I'm not quite sure if they're still
Ooh, that's
playing
fun.
that game.
Sure do.
And the counselors all have flashlights, and they pretty much just zap you when they see you running around. And it was great. We put on camo shirts and put marks on our face and just had a really good time. And yeah, so that's the one I remember the most.
Emily, what
Yeah, it
about
was
you?
super fun. I think my favorite activity would have been the night hikes. You go in a group with a counselor and a couple other campers, and you just explore the outdoors at night, and you listen for different animals, and they tell stories. And I vividly remember they have you chew on lifesavers, which like spark when you chew them in the dark.
Oh, neat.
And so that was super cool. Um, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff you do. I think it was Camp de Bruce. They have this river that has a rock slab in it that's like a natural water slide. And so we got to slide down that, and go swimming in local rivers. And Camp Colby has a lake that you can swim in. So it's super fun.
Are people still able to sponsor, like, I knew that was a thing. Like, a lot of campers that I went to were sponsored by those local groups. And so I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if we fully covered that, but I don't know if that might, because like I'm sure there's people listening that are part of Trout Unlimited or whatever that could spend $350 as a group to send a local student or a kid. So I don't know if we.
Yeah, we do still do those. They're called sponsorships, and they are primarily run out of those keeping in with the legacy of the camp program. Those outdoor sports organizations and clubs, they are the ones that still do that. So they will sponsor kids to go to camp. They do their own fundraising. They got their money, and they pay for other kids to come to one of our camps. And that is a very robust program that we still do, and comprises a very large percentage of our population. And like I mentioned earlier, I think is very integral to the identity of the program. So I don't see that changing anytime soon. And we're always looking for more sponsors. So organizations that are looking to send kids to camp, like, we welcome you. Like, please get in touch. We would love to make that happen. We are always looking for ways to get more kids to camp.
Well, Emily and Sam, thanks for being on the show and telling your camp experience, and obviously getting inspired to work at DEC. It's great to have you two on the team. Jackson, real quick, we have 4 summer camps. Where are they? What are the names again? And give us that registration information one more time.
Great. So we do have 4 summer camps. The first one is in Camp Colby, that is up in Saranac Lake in Franklin County. We also have Camp Pack Forest in Warrensburg, and there's Camp de Bruce down in the Catskills in Livingston Manor, and then out in western New York, there is Camp Rushford in Canandaigua, New York. And all 4 of them have their registration opening on March 22nd, Sunday, March 22nd at 1 o'clock through an online registration portal. So if you're there at 12:59, hit that refresh button. As soon as 1 o'clock pops open, your registration should be open.
You heard it first here on DEC Does What, March 22nd, 1 p.m. Summer camp registration opens, so get your mouses ready, get your computers on, and make sure you're signing up your kids for summer camp here and enjoying these wonderful outdoor adventures that DEC has to offer. So I don't know about you, Adriana, but I'm looking forward to spending some time maybe in summer camp in the future.
I really want to visit all of them.
Hey, we can make that happen.
Well, let's make
do
it
it.
happen, and maybe we'll take this show on the road and sit down around the campfire with some of our campers here, Adriana.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a dream. Let's do it.
Let's do it. In the meantime, keep emailing us at podcast@dec.ny.gov with more ideas and things that you want to hear on the show, and keep visiting dec.ny.gov for opportunities like our summer camp program and all the other great work that we have going on. But Adriana, most importantly, what should folks do?
Get outside.
DEC Does What is a production of DEC's Division of Communication, Education, and Engagement. Our theme music is an original composition by Mike Menza, Environmental Program Specialist with DEC's Division of Fish and Wildlife. Like what you heard on this episode? Please leave a review and share this episode with others. Want to learn more about DEC's wide-ranging efforts to protect New Yorkers and the environment? Visit dec.ny.gov or connect with us on social media. You can find us using @NYSDEC. For more information on DEC Does What, Visit dec.ny.gov/podcast.